G'day, listeners. Welcome to Barkarati, the sailing podcast. My name's Jordan Spencer. It's that time of the week where I get to hang out with some really cool sailors and, of course, my two idiot mates. So first up, and joining me is Mr. Brett Perry.
Greetings, exalted one.
BP.
G'day all, how are you?
Good, mate. Good. How are you?
For all those interested, East Coast lows of Sydney, New South Wales, or the East Coast of Australia, have a look at it, search it up. We are in the middle of a monster.
Basically a winter cyclone. That's what they are.
Well, they kind of are, yeah. You wouldn't want to be about 300 miles off the coast, I can say right now.
Yeah.
We are getting smashed by big swell and big wind.
Yep.
And guess what I've got to do?
Go sailing.
I've got to go sailing. So hurry the bloody hell up and get me off this podcast because I've got to go sailing. I might leave you.
Okay, mate. All right. Let's bring in the other bloke.
He had a voice that could make a wolverine purr.
Mr. Nick Bice.
Congratulations, Jordan.
What?
I believe congratulations is in order.
Why?
What for?
Well, basically, your presence on social media this week has been intense.
Oh, with the photo. With the photo?
No, not the photo. We're about the Olympic boat.
Ask the question.
And two, your campaign about taking the piss out of me and my Land Rovers.
Yes.
On Friday night at the Variety Club Ball, I took the Land Rover in.
Yep.
Because they needed a few props and we're trying to do some fundraising.
Yep.
And they've got on board, mate. I turn up there, there's about 18 drip trays under the bloody thing. No, there's only one man behind this. Yes. One Jordan Spencer.
And you look over in the corner and there he is in the corner, the one eye hanging out the side watching.
Mate,
funny.
Well, I will say congratulations yourself, bud. With I just saw your photo you published on Facebook of you with your lovely wife attending.
Yeah, congratulations for that, or
no, the outfit, mate. The outfit.
Yeah, no.
BP's gone. I can see.
Variety in the outback. So it was just, slap on the Akuba and the old bolo tie, which I had fun finding on a Friday afternoon.
The only thing your wife...
Hang on, I've just seen it.
Big night.
I've just looked. Wow, love it.
Big night had by all.
Raising money for the kids.
Love the hat, Bicey.
And it's all for the children. I mean, we as a team, we went with Clarkey, Kalen, Snowdy, Middo. Yeah, we in excess of 35 grand for the night. So
beautiful.
We're more than happy. So.
Can I ask you one thing? In that suit, did you do some line dancing?
No. Well, you had to do your QR code as you entered the dance floor. But my phone ran out of battery. So.
Good answer. Hey, you look good. Well done.
Hey, boys, I caused a bit of a Barney last week on last week's show. I've caused a major Barney in the VX circles. You remember we were talking about the VX1 midwinters and I was talking about Sarah Johnson and what a great job she did coming forth. What I didn't do was mention the person she was sailing with, and it's caused some concern because
internal rift.
Well, it was young Hayden Barney. And
so you have caused some Barneys.
I have caused some Barneys,
literally.
And both his mum and his dad and him, they're avid listeners of the show. Absolutely, I know for a fact. And so I was just talking about Sarah, and I completely did the wrong thing. So Hayden, for those who don't know Hayden, top young lad, top young sailor, really determined, gives a lot of time of himself, does a lot of coaching, does volunteers. He's one of those young kids that's going to rise right through the ranks. And, so I just get the mention out there so he'll talk to me again.
Shout out to Hayden.
Shout out to
I
Hayden.
like it.
Cool. Beauty.
Bloody good work. Hey, lads, listen, as much as I love you, I got to go.
Right.
I've got to go. And as much as I want to hang out here and speak to Wearny, I did sort of sail against him last weekend, a weekend ago, but I've got to go sailing. So good luck and have a great time. I'm sorry, but I've got bigger and better things to do.
Well, if you put it like that, go to hell.
Right.
No, sorry, lads. Seriously, I've got to get going. I'll catch you later.
Best of luck, mate. Okay, well, BP's given away this week's guest then. We, as you know, the Olympics coming up. We're trying to focus in on the Olympics in the Australian team. So I guess this week's guest is Matt Wearn.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
I must admit, Matt, we in previous episodes we've been known to take the piss out of the laser a little bit. Well, and some of our guests, especially the skiff sailors, who've spent some time in the laser going upwind at 5.2 knots to now skiffing. But a boat that pretty much everyone can relate to. Is that how you kind of kicked off into the laser as well?
Yeah, that and well, yeah. I mean, we're probably pretty used to getting sort of the crap taken out of us a little bit for being so slow. But the laser is just appealing because it's obviously it's pretty easy class to get into, single-handed and relatively cheap. So it was kind of appealing in all sense. But
at your level or at the pointy end of the fleet, got to be super fit too, right?
Yeah, no, definitely. It feels like the races are getting longer and longer. I don't know whether it's just because I've been doing it for a bit more time now, but you do have to be fit, and I think that's the way the sport in general is progressing a little bit as well. But definitely for the hour-long races, the 20-minute upwinds, you got to be pretty on top of your game for those ones.
Oh yeah. So that rules us out, Jordan.
Yeah,
we won't be jumping back in the laser anytime soon.
I don't think I'll get under the boom. Mate, you've been, when I look at your history, we should get you to explain your history because I reckon you are perhaps the first guy that has come through the Australian sailing system from start right through to Olympic level when I look at it. So where'd you start? How'd you start?
Yeah, so basically, started sailing, learned to sail at Royal Perth Yacht Club, doing just, learn to sail program. I guess, that probably was the time that, they started to introduce those programs and like the tackers now and things like that. So, you're probably not wrong in that sense that been part of the system for quite some time. Before you were born,
we didn't have things called opties, mate. No one sailed an optie. And Victor came to Australia and said everyone's got to sail opties. So that's basically what happened. So I reckon you're the first of the people that has come right through.
Yeah, and it's probably only now that you've just said that I've sort of thought about that in some sense. But just sort of the likes of Jess Eastwell taught me how to sail. So obviously she was part of the match racing program back then. I guess that connection with Australian sailing has been there since the beginning. But it's been a progression through that, and then I think as well, like the state institutes as well have jumped in a lot. Probably in the first sort of wave of athletes going through that too, in some sense, where that sort of thing has a pretty big impact on my career for sure, and being able to help that stepping stone into the AST and the laser.
Well,
sorry, Jordan. And throughout all that time, have you always just been based out of Perth, or you've jumped around a bit with it?
The majority of my time's been in Perth, especially through the youth side, and even the beginning of the full rig stuff. It was sort of more Perth based. I was super lucky that we had Arthur Brett as a coach. Obviously one of the great laser coaches. So. You're not really going to rush to leave that sort of program. And
sure.
But then obviously once you get into the squad and the team, that they start to pull you over to Sydney, and definitely in the last maybe 5 or 6 years that definitely been more Sydney based than Perth based for sure.
It's so you're a happy little West Aussie, yeah?
Yeah, definitely. I always see myself as a West Australian.
Yeah,
proud West Aussie.
So as a little distraction here, I noticed Bossy and I sort of see each other Spotify, what he plays. He was playing the West Coast Eagles theme song last night. What's going on?
We're the Eagles. Mighty Eagles. Mate, I tell you, my 7-year-old son knows every bloody AFL tune to the word.
Wow. That's impressive.
Are you a Dockers man or Eagles man?
Yeah, I'm definitely not an Eagles fan, but actually a Port Adelaide supporter.
Yes.
But
Matty, you and I.
If Freo is playing, I'll...
We had a good win yesterday. Perfect. This is working out beautifully.
This is unexpected.
Yeah, exactly.
This is unexpected. Wow. I must admit, my opinion of you has plummeted.
People often do ask that, and they do wonder why. But no, proud Port Adelaide supporter.
Yeah, right. Yeah, well, that explains why we've got one set of teeth between the two of you.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah, exactly.
I was waiting for it. All right, so back to the yachting, mate.
All our overseas listeners go, what are they crapping on
What the hell are
about?
they talking about?
Yeah, exactly.
So, your first Australian team was so you went straight into the Opties, like you had made the Australian team in the Opties, yeah?
Yeah. So, again, sort of, like I think it was like the first group to go to a World Championship as a team, let's say, on the Optimists, and what was that, back in 2007? So, it was pretty lucky with that too. That everyone decided they actually wanted to go, and we could take a 5-person team to Italy, to the Worlds, which was a really cool experience. And my first proper taste at world level, even though it was a junior in a junior class. But that probably stoked the fire a fair bit to continue on with the sailing. That's for sure.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Were you just a natural, like when you got in the boat, like it just came quite naturally to you, and started, having the high performance?
Or are you super competitive?
Yeah, I'm super competitive. Yeah, massively. Even with the footy, like pre-sailing, that was a big thing. And everything I did, being the youngest of 3 kids as well in the family, that always sort of, you're battling with the older brother and things like that. So, yeah, exactly. So, I am one of those people that's super competitive. But, I was a bit, sort of took to sailing pretty quickly. I get told regularly that in the learn to sail programs and stuff, that I was just always keen to jump in the boat and sail around. And when you have to do the capsize drills, I never wanted to do it. Just wanted to sail the boat. And so sort of just took to it like a duck to water, really.
Yeah, sure. And where was those first Worlds? In Italy? Whereabouts?
They were in Cagliari.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good.
Yeah, in Sardinia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
nice venue.
Was it breezy? Like, obviously, growing up in Perth, you've got the Doctor, which I assume you had plenty of experience in that sort of breeze. I've been to Cagliari a few times, and it was bloody windy.
Yeah. I remember the pre-Worlds was really windy, but then your classic thing that you get to the regatta and it's pretty light.
Like this.
But we did have a couple of windy days though, and sort of vaguely remember winning to the top mark in one of the races, and I definitely enjoyed the breeze. And it's been the same in all classes since then. It's just being a Perth boy, you enjoy going out in the windy weather because that's all you get.
Yeah.
So let me guess, you went Opti, laser radial, then full rig? Is that how you went?
I had a brief stint in the 420 actually.
Oh.
I skipped with a 420 for about 6 months. Yeah, which was a cool experience. Pretty glad I did it. Just to have that sort of that faster boat kind of experience a little bit.
Who was coaching
the double-handed
stage? Like, so in the 420, do you remember?
Belinda would have done a fair bit in the 420. Yeah. But I think at that point, like like Dave Gilmore and the Matt Gerwards and stuff were at the top of their game. So sort of just tagged along with that kind of group.
Yep.
Then quickly jumped in the 4.7 because I did not enjoy the double-handed sailing.
I was going to say,
yeah.
Couldn't get along well with you.
I think I did I think I did the nationals and it didn't go so well. And then for the youth nationals, jumped into the 4.7. So I didn't even do the full campaign.
Wow. So you just couldn't, it's hard to work with someone else to wait for them to get to your standard, isn't it?
Oh, here we go.
I'm not saying
Jordan deals with that stuff every day.
I didn't even think of that, boss.
I could see the little cogs turning for my perfect opportunity.
So normally we'd do the joke about not being able to have any friends, but you made it pretty clear that you just like the power of being in total control of everything on the boat. So, the laser has worked out.
Exactly.
If it had gone to a different boat, you remember they had the trials for a different boat. How would you have felt? Like, it wouldn't have baked you at all? Like with the Aero, I think it was?
It would have been, mixed feelings. There was a bit there where it didn't look that great that the laser was going to continue. I think the biggest side of it was that, you just unsure whether, obviously the laser is a pretty prestigious class, that you're unsure whether you're going to get that opportunity to win a world championship in the laser, because you're obviously, if you want that end goal of going to the games, that you've got to go into the Aero or whatever they chose. So that was probably the biggest thing. But I mean, it was a bit like when they changed the sails and the rigs, that no one really wanted to use the new Mark II sails. But then after about 6 months, you're like, oh, this isn't too bad, and you get used to it. So I'm sure it would have been a similar thing. But yeah, I've never sailed the Aero, so I don't know how they feel. But yeah, I was pretty happy that they made a decision to keep the laser. That's for sure.
They're less reliant on the kinetics. You know, you can actually steer the damn things.
Right.
So one thing that I find interesting from the perspective for you is you were basically one of the very first people to be named in the Australian Olympic team. You got named, I think, September 2019, which at the time was a long way out from the Olympics. But my Lord, it's turned into being a long, long, long way out from the Olympics. So does that bring pressure or relaxation?
In some sense, yeah, it brought a fair bit of relaxation at the time of the selection, I guess. Because then, obviously the selection was stressful and full on, and there was a lot of regattas happening and things like that. So to have that out of the way so early was good. But then, once everything was postponed 12 months, it started to become I don't know, you almost forgot about it. I guess the whole of 2020 was a bit of a blur in some sense, that obviously you knew that you were working towards the games, but it didn't really feel like you were selected anymore. So it's only really been the last couple of months when now the media is kind of catching on a bit more, and they're starting to get the hype on, and the rest of the team gets announced and that sort of stuff, that you start to realise that, I am actually selected, and we're ready to go, sort of thing, and it's happening.
What is it true you and Tom decided you wanted an early call, right, on who was going to take the slot? Is that true?
Yeah, for sure. I think it was a mutual agreement in some sense that, like, we're just going to go head to head for as long as they let it go for. So instead of keeping that pressure on and potentially being a detriment to whoever got to go the results in Tokyo, that they'd have the full 12 months to work with Blackers and make sure that we're 100% ready to go. Because I think that leading into Rio, we kept pushing back the selection, and then similar thing, it got to a point where it's just like, well, it's just going to keep going, that we need to make a call, and they ended up doing that. So we just sort of drew the line in the sand pretty early, and then what regattas are the ones you needed to compete at.
Yeah, sure.
It was interesting. We heard a collective wow go around the world when Andy Maloney didn't get selected after winning the Finn Worlds.
Yeah.
And Josh Jr. got sent. But what everyone forgets, it's just New Zealand copying Australia again, because in the laser, you finished second to Tommy Burton at the Laser Worlds, and you got selected.
Yeah.
How does that conversation, or how did that process go? Was there... I don't want to talk about there being bad blood or anything. I don't know if there is, or it's all your best mates. I wouldn't have a clue. But was that... let's talk about it from your perspective. When you came second at those Worlds, did you go, oh no, I'm done, I'm not going to go to the Olympics now?
I mean, probably not at the time, but when you're in that period between the sort of last event after the World Cup in Japan and then them announcing the selection or giving us the call about who was selected, it did run through my head a lot. Obviously, World's prestigious event. The one of the big boxes you needed to tick, but then it took a lot of sort of confidence out of, like, I'd won the Euros, similar level of event, same people, and then Tom was fourth at that event. So it's sort of, if you go off the point scoring system, like I think it was similar for the Kiwis as well, that it was a combination of both the worlds. And I think, Andy or Josh being second in, what was it, Porto, but then in Melbourne, Andy was 7th or 8th or something. So I sort of took a lot of confidence in that consistency of performance. But yeah, it did cross my mind for sure that obviously from a media point of view as well, that world champion doesn't get to go to the Olympics is hard to fight against for sure.
Well, we have to talk about your consistency. So if we look at the last 4 laser worlds that have been run, 2017 you were third. Tell me if I'm wrong here. Then 2018 you were second. 2019 you were second. 2020 you were second. That's a pretty consistent run.
That'll win you a regatta if you had that scoreline.
Yeah, well, exactly. I think we we're talking because I think since 2015 they've all been top 5. So it's sort of after the second place at the Worlds, it's just been frustrating to be so close on 3 occasions and not be able to win for whatever reason. Matter of a point or two in 2 of those occasions was it was frustrating. But I mean, at the end of the day as well, was to have 4 World Championship medals. It's pretty cool. But obviously, being the competitor I am, I want to win, and I'm just super stoked to be at the top of the fleet. So consistency.
Let me tell you, if you're frustrated after 3 seconds, let me tell you about a bloke called Howie Hamlin. I think he's got it came second 8 times in the 505 Worlds.
Yeah, wow. Yeah.
So apart from Tom, who's been your biggest competitor?
Let's get into it.
That you're always like looking over the shoulder for?
Who do we need to knob?
I mean, it changes so regularly. I mean, the in Europe, that Croatian Cypriot group with Pavlos and Tonchi, they're always there or thereabouts. Pavlos beat me to the Worlds in Aarhus in 2018 by was a point in the end. So he's always been someone that you're always battling with around the race course and you're always looking for. Sam Meach from New Zealand. He's a super solid sailor and super consistent as well. Sort of always there or thereabouts. But then I guess recently the likes of Philip Bull from Germany has been on super hot form. Winning the Worlds in Melbourne. There's plenty of guys out there that you're like looking over your shoulder for, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And has that form, like if you looked at the form card coming in, like I don't know how much you've been able to see, but has that form changed much or anyone?
I don't think so.
No.
Yeah, you sort of see the same 5 or 6 people at the top of the fleet in most of the regattas. I think every now and then you'll get a anomaly where they might have a bit of a shocker, but I think it'll be pretty clear cut the top 10 for sure at the games.
Go on. Have you obviously you've been very consistent for that time since the last 5 or 6 years. Have you changed your techniques at all during that time? Like experimented with different things?
Yeah, I think we've had to refine a lot. Experimenting not so much. Refine the skills, and obviously, sailing's one of those sports that you can never perfect. So, it's just a matter of, and like we sort of talked about before, being from Perth and being a bit more able to sail on the windier stuff a little bit better. That we've worked a lot in the light air, and that's been really good. And I think that's what the consistencies come from. It's just being a bit more of an all-rounder sailor that no matter what the regatta throws up wind-wise, that you're there or thereabouts in all the races, and you can be fighting at the end for a medal, if not the win.
And what are you tipping the scales at to be the Mr. Consistent? Yeah,
I've had to drop a kilo or 2 from when I was a little bit younger, but I'm sort of happy to sit around 82. If I'm 82, I'm pretty happy in the light, pretty happy in the windy. Not sort of giving up too much in either end of the scale, which is good.
And that's quite consistent across the fleet itself, like for the top guys?
Yeah, you'll see some bigger boys like Philip. I mean, the rumours going around of the Worlds, he was 86, 87 kilos, which you'd believe with the windy event and how quick he was going. But yeah, I mean, it's so hard to tell with everyone there, or everyone's pretty cagey around how much they're weighing.
Yeah, sure.
But I imagine everyone's within 3 or 4 kilos of each other, which at the end of the day, like a couple of shifts here and there are going to make a bigger difference.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? You know, like I love how this discussion's ended up getting down to the body shapes and weights. I'm intrigued. And a laser really is 80-82 sort of range, isn't it?
Yeah, I think to be competitive in the light air, yeah, especially if you're taller like me, you can get away with being a bit lighter. Why not? A little bit less weight in the boat when it's light, but then you got the leverage when it's windy. You
know what you need to be really successful is be tall, but your height comes from having a gigantic noggin.
Yeah.
Exactly. This is Jordan speaking from experience, by the way. His own built-on weight jacket.
It worked, don't you worry. You know, can we? I guess we have to bring up the relationship, and I'll introduce it by that 2018 Worlds. As you said, you dipped out by a point on winning the World Championships. Must have been wonderful to be second, but also heartbreaking just to be so close. But at the same time, your partner, she had her win. She won the Worlds.
Yeah. Pretty. Yeah, that afternoon was pretty weird, I have to admit. Yeah, probably the biggest roller coaster of emotions I've ever had.
I wonder.
And yeah, she still doesn't let me live it down that she's won a Worlds and I haven't either. So when it comes to doing the dishes or packing the dishwasher or something, I always get the dirty jobs because she reminds me of that World Championship. But
I love it.
No, I mean, yeah, it was. Yeah, I mean, to be so close, and for us in the lasers to have a medal race for a World Championship as well. That's a little bit different. So to be in a medal or to be in the World Championship position halfway around the course and then to not win was probably even harder.
Sure.
Yeah, but then, super stoked for Emma. I mean, that was pretty cool. Pretty cool to be there. Obviously don't get to share the same regatta at World Championships. So to be there when she actually won it was really cool. And
cool.
Obviously you're never going to be upset about that, are you?
No. So we're talking about Emma Plaschart, who's from Belgium, and obviously one of the standout female sailors in the radial course. And as you know, Matty, I was doing the commentary at that event with, and I had Evie Van Acker sitting right next to me, who's Belgian laser sailor, and probably Emma grew up training with, I would suggest.
They were training partners for a long time. Yeah.
But I had a whole conversation going on every time we'd go to break where I'd be quizzing Evie about, is Belgium even a real country? Like if you look at the most famous things from Belgium, it's like a cartoon character. Which is not. And she was getting so frustrated, and they'd call us back in and I'd be sitting there smiling and she's like ready to kill me sort of thing. So next time Emma's giving you grief, just
ask her if Belgium's a real country.
Even a real country. We actually started the hashtag, is Belgium even a real country?
Well, I just start talking in German and she hates that. So if I ever needed to get one up on her, that's the way I go. But yeah, I'll have to keep one up my sleeve.
Well, the other thing I've noticed while we're talking about on the female laser front there is that if you look at, you've got the top of the fleet, you've got Marit, you've got Anne-Marie Rindon, you've got Mara, right? So if you've got to have a MAR in your name.
Good point.
So I'm just suggesting if you really want to show some support for Emma, you should say MR. Just call it Emma.
Yeah, just chuck an R on the end. Yeah.
Oh, no, seriously, how's that? Like, is she kind of? You guys are tight. Like, if we have a look at your photos, when you look at your photos, dude, she's into you. The way she looks at you is hilarious. She's into you. But you guys are, you've been together a while. you're going around the world together. It's a great. You must be a great support for each other.
Yeah, it's been awesome. I mean, we've almost been together for 8 years now, and got engaged last year, which was super cool. So, but yeah, we've always been there for each other at regattas. We've been through the highs and lows, and it is a massive advantage. It's someone that you can talk to that's outside of the team as well, that you don't have to worry about. Sort of putting on that professional face too, in some sense. So, it does offer up another element of being able to enjoy the sport as well. That we get to do this together, and obviously super lucky that we're both in a chance to win a medal in Tokyo as well, which has just been an absolute dream. So, to be able to do the journey together has been awesome.
And when are you getting married? Have you got a set a date?
Absolutely no idea. This whole COVID thing's put a few spanners in the works with obviously.
Might I suggest though, when you do send the invites out, regarding presents, say no tiller extensions, please.
Yeah, right. Not sure that was something.
Oh, what should we buy, Matt and Emma?
Yeah, nothing sailing related, please. Yeah. That's for sure. But we'll figure that out in good time.
Did you see, obviously, are you going to end up both living here, or are you going to both live there, or are you going to bounce between? You know, you got the same sort of issue as Maddie does as well. The other
It's a tough one. I think we're both pretty keen to campaign for 2024. So I think for the near future, we'll try and base ourselves in Europe a bit more, just because of ease of access to Marseille and stuff. But I mean, I imagine we'll bounce back and forth a fair bit. No one likes being in Europe in winter, so try and do the summer hop every year, which will be good. But I mean, we'll probably end up living in Australia, to be completely honest. It's who wouldn't want to be here? That's for sure.
Well,
correct.
Rather than living in a mythical country.
So we're obviously getting pretty close to the Olympics themselves, basically within weeks now. What's your program from here on in? How's that looking?
Yeah, basically trying to chase warm weather and similar conditions to Japan. So heading to Cairns on Monday, which is really cool. Place we've never sailed before as well, which just sort of freshens you up a little bit mentally as well, which will be cool. But getting the trade winds up there in the warmer weather for a couple of weeks. The Kiwis are coming across too, so we've got 3 Kiwis, adding another element to it, which will be awesome to do some racing and starting in a competitive fleet. And then have a couple of days off, sort out all the COVID stuff, and head to Japan on the 10th of July.
Australian Olympic team have had some pretty shit-house uniforms in the past. Have you got a nice, as the Australian sailing team, they got a nice tracksuit for you, or how's it looking? Yeah,
it does look pretty good. It's a little bit easier on the eye than some of the previous colours and things like that. So
you make it look good,
but I think the fact that they've had to make everything as cool as possible, as in from a temperature point of view, has helped a lot. So they haven't let the designers go on free rein with all that sort of stuff, which is always nice. But I mean, I'm still yet to see it face to face, so we'll see what it looks like in the flesh.
Isn't the lining of the jacket, it's all the previous gold medalists' names?
In the blazer. That looks pretty cool. That's a nice touch. Really nice touch.
Can I suggest, my friend, if you win gold, right, just get a pen out and write your name on it. That'd be good, wouldn't it?
I'd imagine I probably would do that.
Actually, even better, get a stamp made up and then just go around and stamp everybody's.
Stamp everyone's.
Everyone that I see.
So you're one of the things, speaking of gold medals, there's pressure. There's got to be, do you feel the pressure about this whole discussion about medals? Because you are mentioned in all the planning, all the administrators, they've got their numbers and they're justifying their existence, and their existence is dependent on you getting, You know, they've got you in for a medal, hopefully a gold. Are you feeling that?
Yeah, I mean, it does a little bit, but yeah, I mean, at the end of the day as well, like that pressure is probably no higher than the pressure I'm putting on myself to win. So, yeah, it definitely, and for sure the history of the laser class as well, with the two Toms sort of back to back, and obviously, yeah, it'd be just awesome to be able to do the three-peat for Australia. Yeah, there is that side of pressure, and you do feel it a little bit. But yeah, again, at the end of the day, that like I don't want to win any less than they want me to win. So yeah, I just want to go there and do my absolute best, and hopefully that's enough to bring home that gold at the end of the day.
You're putting on as much pressure on yourself as anybody else is what you're saying.
Yeah, exactly right.
You've got your internal intensities bringing it. Actually, speaking of that, when you get to the medal race, let's assume you get there, you've been working on your match racing? Or maybe you should tell us the opposite of what you've done so that they can't prepare off this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I mean, Tom and I did a lot of match racing stuff pre-2016, which, I still sort of live off that in some sense. That base of the boat on boat combat stuff was really cool. But yeah, we do a lot of training simulation, I guess, of point scenarios and things like that. Having to come from behind, different points gaps, practicing some different manoeuvres, and with different sailors as well, so you don't get too used to how one person will react in a situation. So we feel reasonably confident that we're in that. If we are in that scenario, that we'll be good to go. But let's hope that we're clear enough in front that all we have to do is a loose cover, and that will be fine.
What I'll also suggest for you too, Matt, sailors traditionally have been quite dismissive when they're talking about their own performance, say compared to a 100-metre sprinter, who is kind of keeping the banter up like a boxer. So what we do say to you, if you can really just talk it up and basically change the whole tactic and the way the conversation changes.
No humility.
Just send it. Like, imagine you are in the 100-metre sprint, and that's how you need to react. When old German mate pipes in there, just send it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Oh, I'm a pretty humble guy, so I'll find that pretty hard to do. But I just don't think anyone, because you're so unsure what the day's going to throw up. You don't want to be that guy. It's like, I've got this, and then
you don't want to be the mundane of the yachting world.
Oh
no, exactly. Yeah,
that was a good one. I'd love it if you just stood up in the boat at the start and just pointed to the boundary, the horizon, and said,
"He's called it."
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Oh dear. So, from a family perspective, like, are there any other Wearns running around doing sailing or not?
Definitely not at a competitive level. Probably all involved in sailing in some way. My brother not so much anymore, just from work commitments. But yeah, mum and dad are still into their sailing and enjoy getting out there when they can, more in the keelboat sort of stuff, weekend racing. And then my sister works for Australian Sailing in WA, so there is some link to sailing, but none of them really took to it like I did in the competitive sense.
That's cool.
So you were saying you've got desires 2024 to be in the laser, and what do you see actually after that? Where do you see yourself?
Actually, before you answer, Matt,
it's something I found myself. I found myself talking or thinking about a lot especially the last 12 months. Just sort of a bit more time to think about it and things like that. But I'm pretty keen to stay within the Olympic realm, whether it's as a coach or otherwise. I would love to be able to, I don't know, take over from Blackers in some sense and have that legacy with the team as a coach would just be absolutely awesome. But
how was that?
I haven't really thought about it in too much detail.
Take over or take out Blackers? What did you say?
Oh, either or is fine.
Just get him to get you through to a couple more golds and then take him out. That's it. You're out.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah.
And did you, obviously, I mean, sailing a laser is a full-time job in itself, but did you study after school?
No, so my first year in the squad was my last year of school. And that reflected pretty heavily on the schooling. They just sort of scraped through high school, doing the bare minimum days and things like that. And then, they just sort of jumped straight into it. Did full campaign the year after leaving high school, and haven't really got into the study. So
did that lead to interesting conversations with your teachers? Like, do the teachers go, come on, Matt, this is, they try and hit you with
cameras? Yes, especially coming from a non-sporting school as well. Right. There was a bit hard for them to understand why I was leaving for a month and a half and not coming back, sort of thing, mid-year. But
what
they
school
were
was
pretty
that?
supportive. Woodvale Secondary College, just local town school up near my place. Yeah, suburbs.
Up near, is that Freo or in near down?
Northern suburbs in so up near Hillary's Way.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we saw some photos of you sailing a 505. With Emma, by the looks of it. Is that the future?
Yeah.
Maybe that's your future.
Yeah. It was actually it was super fun regatta.
What was
I think
it?
they were calling it not the nationals or something. But that was super fun. Invited into the class for the weekend. 3 days of racing, which was just it was great. And Emma and I sort of looked at each other at the end of the regatta and went, like, this could be cool to do. Once we sort of finished
so you didn't get divorced,
Olympic
basically.
stuff. And
no. So that was a good start.
So we definitely enjoyed it. Yeah, as long as Emma's on the stick, I think it's all good.
I was just going to say, on a fiver, you don't have time to argue because you're so busy, got so many strings to focus on. You don't have time to focus on anything else, like.
Yeah.
How'd she go?
Emma was proper thrown in the deep end with it.
Yeah.
Gone from pulling 3 strings her whole life to now she's got about 100 to pull. So, but it was a baptism of fire. But we definitely talked about potentially post Olympic stuff, finding a boat and doing some regattas, some worlds and Europeans and things like that if we can. Yeah.
You guys would be a formidable team, hey?
Yeah, and hopefully I could put on a few extra kilos as well, which would be nice.
Yeah. If you need help with that, just talk to me. You guys would be a formidable team. I know I can name a few boats that would just drop right into it. But that's the joy of the sport, isn't it? One of the things that, if you think about our sport, seriously, if you think about our sport, I'm not sure how many Olympians sort of hang on and want to keep going to world championships and events after their Olympic career's over. Like, do you think of any other sport where they want us to keep doing it and keep doing it and keep doing it? And that's one of the great things about our sport. We've all sort of hit our peak, but we still want to keep going. Like it's one of the joys of sailing.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. And the 505 fleet was just so friendly as well. Yeah. Everyone was super helpful, and were more than happy to have us around. Whereas, I've jumped into other classes before, and they're all like, "Oh, who's this bloke that thinks he can just jump into the boat and come race us?" So it's that side of it, just the fun holiday aspect too. That just get to hang out with people, have a few beers after sailing, and enjoy the sport.
The truth is that the 50 guys are sailing 50, so they're always happy. Oh, got that one in. Oh dear. I don't know. I quite like a 50 man, in case you didn't know. So, What about? Don't tell me your nickname, right? Don't tell me your nickname is bloody Wearny or the Wernster or something like that. Is that it?
No, Wearny's usually the go-to by most. But in Perth, they get called Wearn Dog.
Wearn Dog.
The Wearn Dog.
The Wearn Dog.
I love it.
Yeah,
that's good.
Or WD for short. That one never really left Perth. Usually just all the blokes are, and I think Arthur Brett started that one, so got him to
in SA, you'd be Wearny for sure. Yeah. In Sydney, you'd be Wearno. Yeah. And Perth, the Wearn Dog.
Yeah.
I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I like the idea of your 40th in Western Australia and the WD-40 party.
Yeah, it's a good point, actually.
What about in Belgium? What would they call you there? They call you, or does Emma have another name for you, mate?
Oh, it's very much Matt. Yeah, it's very, very formal. Very formal. I think even Emma's parents call me Matthew, which
wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
I only get called that if I'm in trouble. So
They're all a bit serious over there.
Yeah,
Not even a real country.
No, yeah, yeah, exactly.
I can't wait till they give you grief one day and you just say that. You just drop that on them. Like I love it. And what about superstitions, mate? Is there anything that sort of you worry about? Like, do you have to wear the red socks or something?
No, not a massive one for the superstitions. I'm more of just a habit kind of guy that like to follow the same routine really. But I don't know whether you can call that a superstition or not.
Just
but not a massive superstitious guy, but I mean, yeah. I mean, I always like to wear the same hat and things like that, so then maybe that's a bit of a superstition.
Oh, yeah.
So
there
you go. Nothing out there.
Well, in your merch pack, you'll get a bar karate hat, of course.
Yeah. A bar karate hat, stubby holder, maybe a T-shirt, which you may or may not receive, the merchandise pack. Have you been keeping an eye on all the other yachting going around? America's Cup, GP, all that stuff?
Like you're a fan.
Yeah, for sure. Love watching the Cup at the start of the year. That was awesome. Especially those final matches between Luna Rossa and Team NZ. That was really cool. And obviously the F50s are just great fun to watch because watching 7 of those guys blast around at 40 knots is just outrageous. So it's good fun to watch them.
Have you tried the foiling or not?
Yeah. I had a wasp for a little bit, but that was no fun. The racing just didn't really appeal to me. I could only go out when it was sort of 17 plus knots.
Yeah, right.
That was before they had the big foil, so maybe that changed things. So, a couple of times in the moth, but just can't afford it. And then just got into the wing foiling, which has been really cool. Yeah. So been doing that for the last 12 months, which has been super fun. Do some big downwinders and easy to pack up and relatively cheap too. So it's been pretty cool.
Yeah, we had Robbie Nash on and he was talking that element up. He was saying that it's really good when we had him on a long time ago and he was talking it up big time.
Yeah, no, it's just awesome because now Blackers has got some stuff and we'd go out in the water together after a training session and just have half an hour of blasting around. It's just accessible by everyone really, which is really cool.
Yeah. So Blackers is there. Slingsby's got one. There's a whole bunch of them floating around now, isn't it? Like it's all the cool kids.
I'd be surprised if there's one person in the Olympic team that hasn't got kit at this point. Sure. Yeah.
Right. That's pretty cool. What about do you have a sailor that sort of you look up to a lot? Like any sailors that you just think, from past or recent past, or do any guys that you just go, oh yeah, they've got it going on?
Yeah, well, Slingo was always one, being the laser guy and basically dominating the class for the period that I was going through the youth stages. So you sort of have that fanboy mentality in some sense. But and obviously someone that's been quite accessible to talk to as well.
He's pretty good.
About the campaign and things like that, and has been a little bit involved in the whole process of it and stuff as well lately. So that's been really cool.
Do you actually cross paths? Did you actually cross paths on the water with slingers?
Very briefly in 2012, just in the lead up to the games. Didn't do much training with him, but did a bit of racing. Being my first year in the squad. Not as much as I would have liked, but it was cool being around that environment for sure. When especially as he was revving up for 2012 and seeing that side of things as well. Yeah.
You're quite a smart lad, Matty, when I think about it, because first person you mentioned is Slingers, and he's on the selection committee for the team, wasn't
he? Yeah, good point.
No coincidence.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Anybody else? Let's just get the selection committee list up.
Yeah. I mean, the likes of like Bundy, Darren Bundock, and just those senior athletes have had so much experience.
Yeah.
And even like Jake's got Glenn involved in doing some of his fun podcasts, which has been really cool. Just to hear his experience. Never really had the opportunity to talk to Glenn sort of face to face, but just sort of listen to those words of wisdom has been great. And even the likes of big fella Ian Murray. There's people that have been around the sport and not just Olympic sailing, obviously very involved in the Sail GP and the America's Cup. Like listening to what he has to think about boats and how we can make him go faster and that sort of stuff. So that's a pretty cool aspect too.
Did you ever talk to Glenn Burke? Glenn Burke was the man. He's probably, you wouldn't have even heard of him probably, but I suppose you would through the Australian.
No, he had. Yeah, no Berkey. He offered to help us out a fair bit with some downwind stuff and pointers that he'd seen through footage and stuff. So he's reached out in the past, which has been awesome. And then with the Worlds and all the regattas happening in Melbourne, like end of 2019, early 2020, that he was around the club a bit and sort of run into each other and had a bit of a chat, which was awesome. Yeah. What
about with the boat? So obviously in Japan, you don't bring your boat; you turn up and you just pull one off the rack. What's obviously it's the Japanese manufacturer, I'm assuming, boat. Are the rigs the CST rigs? Are they? I don't know. Do you have any worries, I guess, with what you're going to get, or can you shake it back and churn it over, or you don't get a chance?
No chance to do anything to the boats. But yes and no. I mean, the Japanese boats in the past have been pretty solid. We've had several of them throughout the team. So they've all been almost identical. So they do a good job of making the boats as close as possible. So you kind of don't really have to worry about that in some sense. But I mean, there's always that chance you might get a bit of a lemon, might leak a bit or something, and as the regatta goes on, it might get a little bit worse. But you just make do with it. And I think you've done enough regattas at Worlds and stuff with supplied equipment that you just get used to dealing with whatever you get given. And the additional of the CST top sections, the carbon top sections, has made life a lot easier because you don't have to worry about bent masts and things like that too, which is great.
What are the little discrepancies between the different manufacturers?
Some are softer.
Do you have a favourite?
Yeah. Oh, hang on. Here we go. You can get some marketing.
It's all changed up now with this whole new, all the new dealers and stuff. So I actually haven't had an opportunity to sail any of the new boats. That'll be a project for after the games to have a look around some of the others. But I've heard that I think it's the Voddies or the Negri Nautica boats or something. They're really good. Apparently really quick in a breeze and stuff like that. But this is just all rumours and word of mouth stuff. So how do you know? But
it's all pretty much 100% serious 23% of the time here on Barkarati. And there are a few other classes out there, just saying that there are some better manufacturers than others. Not better, but
more accurate.
There are some slight discrepancies, let's say.
Yes, I can imagine there would be. And I'm sure certain people get certain boats that are... there
used to be
in some sense,
like old stories, like back like 70s and 80s, and you would go to the factory and choose your particular laser, and check the mast stiffness and all sorts of things. Obviously, you're not allowed to do that these days, but it definitely used to be a thing.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, what do they call it? The competitive advantage. Nothing that says you can't do it, so why not do it?
Yeah.
But you'd like to think that they're coming out pretty solid. No, I think they got some pretty harsh penalties if they get caught doing something a bit dodgy. So hopefully the class is good for it.
Matty, we're sort of getting close to the end, mate. I do want to ask: have you ever sort of thought of other sports?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I played footy a fair bit as a kid, AFL, being a Perth boy. So, yeah, that was the only real other sport that I was sort of majorly involved in. But yeah, apart from that, yeah, not really. Sailing's kind of been my life for quite some time, and obviously the sport I enjoy doing. So nothing else has really tickled my fancy. I do enjoy doing a bit of motorsport. Dad and my brother are pretty heavily involved in that side of things. So when I get home, sort of trying to be involved in that a little bit too, which is cool. Apart from that, not really. Yeah, pretty simple one. Just sailing and whatever else takes my fancy.
So if you didn't have sailing, like, do you reckon you'd be able to have picked up Emma? Oh, actually, who picked up who? Who made the move? Because she's the older woman.
Yeah.
Did she?
You sort of mutual, I think.
Oh, that means she picked you up, mate.
I think she questioned who I was, and then I questioned who she was, and then we got talking, and then things went from there.
So how old would you have been? You would have been, what, 17 or something?
Yeah, I was just 18, I think.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah. Just a young one.
That's the young one. She was smart. She was straight onto you. Very cool.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else from you, boss? You're about to speak.
No. Just going to say, well, obviously some busy weeks coming up leading into Japan, and then once you get there, acclimatise and get ready. Just wish you the best of luck, mate. We'll be keeping a close eye on it all. And, no pressure, but obviously we wouldn't expect anything but gold.
I appreciate it. I'll remember that. I'll remember that one out in the water. That'll be the motivation.
Oh, there you go.
Bar Karate Boys.
Bar Karate Boys. Yeah. The only thing you need to remember from the Bar Karate Boys is to have fun, mate. That's it. That's it.
Yep. Keep smiling, mate.
Yeah.
Perfect.
We'll back you the whole way, mate. Don't you worry.
No, appreciate it. Really appreciate it.
All right, Matt. Thanks for joining us, mate.
No, pleasure.
Righto. Made it. What a day. Hey, how was the chat with our guest, Wearny?
Oh, it was good.
It's probably one of our best, actually.
I bet it was. I can tell you. I've been out, as I mentioned before I left you, in an abrupt way. I've been out sailing in that East Coast low up in RPA, up at the Pittwater, beautiful Pittwater.
Yeah.
And that's no mean feat, I have to say, in a southwesterly of 25 knots. Oh, my God, flat water with boats that nosedive.
Oh.
Get on.
Mate,
love it.
Heaps on. Great sailing, though. MC38s. Wow,
yeah.
Awesome. Anyway, that's my tip. Good on you.
Cool. Right, let's continue on. Secret Pro.
All right. Yeah, I saw this, and Mike. Who's Mike?
What's his name?
What?
Say the name again.
Mike. It says Mike. Michael something. Oxmall.
So just say that again. He likes Mike, doesn't he?
Hey?
What's his full name? Just say Mike.
Mike.
And his last name?
Pricks. I told you I'm rushing home.
Mr. Oxmall. We'll call him Mike Oxmall.
I told you I've walked straight in the door. I've literally got my wet weather gear on still.
Oh, have you?
I'm dripping wet to make this important meeting that I have with my mates every weekend. And you line me up with that cracker.
We didn't quite get it right. You dodged the bullet though, BP.
You did well.
I'm good at dodging bullets.
Yeah, that was going to be funny though. We were laughing. We were giggling away. So, any Secret Pro news while we're there?
No, I think most of the news is actually out there, and we're about to discuss it.
BP.
Hang on, BP's got something.
What do you got?
I'm not telling you.
The etch eye, that stuff, rightio. Okay.
It is going rife. But hey, it will happen when it happens.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's-
Anyway, but that's how we
let's
are
just-
with this program.
Let's just hope they
Like to-
resolve it
like
and
to,
everyone's
like
happy.
to keep yes, we want them to resolve it. We'd like to keep people on the edge as well.
Oh, okay.
Nice.
Actually, I've had a thought this week I've been chatting to a lot of our mates, sort of over the last few weeks, and I've noticed that a lot of sailing pros have taken real jobs. Have you guys noticed that?
Yeah. Well, without the travel, it's you got to pay the mortgage somehow, right? So, what are we looking into?
Well,
Tradies,
Hey?
markets.
Markets,
Into the
I
markets.
guess what I'm
bit of crypto.
what I'm bringing into it is that I think that a few of these guys have taken on real jobs. They're going to be home with the families and settle. Some of them will settle in and stay in those jobs. They're good jobs, right? And or they've had to give commitments that they're going to stay. I think there's going to be a bit of a vacuum once everything starts up again. Some youngsters, there might be a chance for a refresh in the market. Some youngsters will get their chance. I'm just trying to say it out there for the youngsters listening in who want to make that step up. It could be a good chance. Get your vaccination doing.
No, that's right though. And sailing itself's not going to slow down. They still need the people.
Yeah.
And people. These pros have been doing it for years and years and years, and maybe there's a little reset, not required or needed, but also a reset from their headspace as well. Instead of travelling for the last 20 years, maybe it is good being at home.
Could be happening. Of course, if everyone goes to double-handed boats, then forget it.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there's still going to be some good stuff going on in that area. But anyway,
we'll come to that, BP.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Just in case you're interested in that. Listener of the week?
Yeah, for sure. I think this week it's got to go to Scusi.
We got
Pete
a few
Skews.
good ones, didn't we? We got a few good ones this week.
Yeah, we had a few good ones coming in. We had definitely honourable mention from Mark Disney for changing the name of the Jordan the Great Pursuit race to the Big Head Cup. Not bad.
Did you love the way he actually worked out how to do some measuring?
Yeah. I believe.
I'd like you to explain that if you wouldn't mind.
Head in a bucket.
Yeah.
Well, you fill a bucket. You fill a bucket to the amount of litres, and the person who's being measured has to put his head in that bucket for a specific amount of time, and however much water is dispelled, and what water is left, that's the size of your head.
Yeah.
But you got to be inverted, and he wants you to squeeze your hair out and drip it back into the bucket.
Drip back.
Oh yeah.
Oh no, it's technical. It's technical.
Fully
Yeah.
technical.
What about Scusi? What did he say?
But Scusi, basically, he has nominated one Kyle Langford to be test rig.
Oh, again?
So what has been written, add an A-class state titles in Vincentia Sailing Club on Jervis Bay. Kyle tested out the impact resistance of the windward mark by hitting it dead centre at 20-plus knots with a falling ACAT.
Wow.
Needless to say, the mark didn't fare too well and was only saved by the lightning-fast response by Matthew and John on the mark boat, who dashed in to grab the mark as it started going down. 2 repairs later, and it's never been the same. Yeah. To top it off, Cole lost a bloody expensive dagger board over the side on his return to shore, which was retrieved only by a local diver the next day. So both Kyle and Scusi, you might be getting you may or may not be getting a merchandise pack.
Love it.
Just for those giving us some good stories.
Love it. Boys, during the week, was it this week, last week? We've been approached by a company that wants to sponsor us, and we're pretty militant on it. We haven't accepted money from anyone yet because I'm not sure why. Because I think we don't want to do this to piss our audience off. We do this for fun. We're definitely going to take some sponsorship on because it's costing us money. So we will do that. But this company, their product was let's call them man shears.
Man grooming, let's say.
Let's man grooming.
And just for the listeners out there, we run a pretty democratic type voting system amongst the Barkarati hosts, and you generally need it's 2 versus 1. And I
usually know nothing.
I can't believe you blokes didn't want to shave your balls.
Well, I thought this leads to problems, boys. This leads to major problems because when we're picking the Ginger team,
Yeah.
I mean,
How do we choose a team?
How do you verify that they're a genuine Ginger? And if everyone, because people that listen to the show, they'll rush out and buy products, because if we're going to back someone in, a sponsor in, then
So what you're saying, if we back this particular sponsor in, we sell it hard enough, all the listeners are going to do a little bit of grooming.
That's it.
So we're not going to be able to prove that they're actually real gingers.
That's it. That's my point.
Because everyone can get their hair dyed blonde and their eyebrows, tinted. I mean, who's going to go to the level of getting their, whatsies?
Well, basically, you'd have to go offshore and check after the event.
And then what happens if we find someone who hasn't had it, who hasn't got them? I think this is a whole new can of worms of cheating, corruption.
Can of worms. So we turned down that, but this actually reminded me. I don't know if we discussed this on the show that, in the Olympics, there's actually no fail-safe test to verify that an athlete is female versus male. Oh, this is serious. Because you can't use on body parts because there are people with both. And you can't use, I'm not a scientist at all. What's it? The
chromosomes.
Chromosomes, yeah.
YZ things.
Because the XX and the XY, but there's multiple combinations of that. There's I think my standard test was that if you eat tofu, then that was my test.
Yeah,
but
fair enough. Or you live in Byron Bay.
That's good. I hadn't thought of that exemption there. So that test fails as well. But anyway, so that leads on to obviously we have to bring up the Olympic discussion that we put. We asked the question on Facebook: what should the Olympics look like? Did you boys see all that?
Mate, my phone was. Don't have my notifications turned off for Facebook, and I got to tell you, holy shit, my phone was dinging all over the joint.
Well, I think it's one of the most successful posts you put up.
Yeah. Well, it was. It's what that tells us.
It's into the thousands.
Oh yeah, 5,000 or something. We had 5,000 or 6,000 sort of different notes we've received.
Hey, what it tells me is there is a passion for it. There is people
people have
generally concerned about where this is going, genuine philosophies, genuine thoughts.
Yep.
And there was some pretty cool suggestions.
There's one other thing.
Have you done a bit of a wrap up of some of the best comments there?
I do want to mention one other thing actually that it tells us. Sailors want to be heard. That's what I'm saying. The reason I put that question up is because I think that the critical thing about our sport is that we're a bunch of mates doing stuff together. And this show is not about us; it's about our audience. And I really wanted to see what the audience wanted to say, and I wanted to give them a venue to say something. And we want to do as much of that as possible. If we should do an audio thing where people can record a message or ask a question and we can throw it onto the show. I'd love to get more of the audience on the show.
More involvement, yeah.
But that tells me... I
like where you're going with having a voice, the sailor's voice.
That's
because
it.
The way I feel about the last X amount of months of what's gone on, we as sailors have had nothing to do with it. It's been a few blokes and ladies sitting in a room arguing about it. You know what I mean? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
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 And for the listeners, we're talking about the Etchels.
Yeah, that's them.
No, we're talking about...
But it's the same. It's the same.
Yeah. So we had a lot of great ideas.
Okay.
Have you guys done a summary of all the different ones there?
Yep, there is a good summary. And if someone wants to spend the time to go through it all, there's some really good ideas there.
Yep.
And some of the key ones that came back, and you can tell the ones that are totally passionate about this. Wesley Bemis, he actually sent us an email. So one group of sailors competing in each boat.
I like that idea.
Great idea.
That's a great idea.
So the classes could be Aeros, J class, Star and
Well, it doesn't
Fin
matter
Moss,
what class, does it?
Mudlarks, the Evon 20 cat.
The rainbow could get a bloody mention.
Well,
It did.
I wasn't going to say it, and I was going to wait till the poster's getting like winding itself up because everyone's waiting for me to say it. But the rainbow has to be in there without a doubt.
It was mentioned.
So-
I'll tell you then. I sort of tried to do a summary of lists. So as you said, the Aeros were mentioned.
Yep.
So that was serious. I'm thinking a J class can't be serious, but the Star and the Fin and the Moth, Mudlark. Someone's having a laugh. A Von 20 cat. Do you boys know what an Yvonne 20 cat looks like?
No.
Nah.
Okay. If you're going to raid a beach under military fire, I'd go in Yvonne cat. They're pretty solid. VJs, the 1 metre. A 1 metre
Oh, the
RC.
Twiddlers. The Twiddlers get a go.
That was a good idea, I thought. The Sabos, Brad Ginnivan, FDs, of course, Fivos, of course, and the best one was gravy boats.
Little what?
A gravy boat.
I've seen someone scull a gravy boat before. Not too successful when he put it in the pond, though.
But I think Wesley's idea is not a bad one because it's all-round skills, so you can pick your sailors based on, so you do a few races in each class, but
I'll tell you what, have you guys done some twiddling?
This is like the decathlon of sailing.
The decathlon of have you guys done some twiddling? Some
Yeah.
remote
Kinda
control
not
yachting?
really, sort
Yeah.
of.
It's it does bring the best out of quite a lot of things, like how
I've seen a few punch-ups on the shoreline.
Oh,
put it
mate,
that way.
it's brutal. It
I
is
was
brutal.
thinking that.
Actually,
when I saw
so that is introducing boxing into the game as well.
Exactly.
Hey, now we're talking media attention.
The other one that there's a few here. So Gordon Smith,
Oh, Gordon, here he is. Gordo.
Gordo,
Smithy, yeah.
he wrote.
Is it Smithy, is it? Sorry.
It's it's Mike Oxmore. It's not interested in a boat. I'm interested in skills and thrills. So how about match racing, teams racing, single women, single men's, double something, kite foiling something, relay something, offshore something. Focus on skills and not boats or weights.
And this is where it seems to be all going. A lot of people have said this.
Well, the great Simon Reffold backed it up. You boys know big Simon Reffold?
Well, he's only a small man with a very small voice.
Where did that
No,
come
when he's around.
The great Simon Reffold, one of, I must admit, a very good friend of mine. I care deeply for the man. He said, your man Gordon Smith made the perfect point below or above. Make the boats irrelevant. It's the skills. So supplied craft with no ability to change setups, single-handed mono men and women, double-handed mono men and women, mixed mono and mixed cat, foiling board men and women, keelboat mixed with a minimum and maximum crew weight and composition, and back to the old days with a mix of fleet and match racing.
Oh,
Okay, so that was a consistent one. I think that's probably the consistent theme is just have an open category and you just nominate on the day. But the best one that I really liked is Kevin Francis's one.
yeah, sure he did. Yeah.
Do you know that one, BP?
I'm looking at it.
Okay, tell us what it is.
Well, no, you tell it because it's it's your passion.
Okay, so it's the I-550s. The crews have to build them, get them measured, and then race them. It's an all-round set of skills.
We could go back. Actually, when the flame goes up, you get your plans.
And you got to build it before the end of 2
You
weeks.
got to
and be
build
sailing.
it. You got to do at least 4 laps around the Big Head pursuit course, and then
Mark Disney, thank you. Right, so you've got to build
Go
your
home
boat
with the gold.
and do the regatta within the 2 weeks.
yeah.
Yeah, so the I-550...
Are you allowed to have all your materials ready?
Yeah. But the I-550...
No, you got to go to B&Q out at Marseille.
got to go to Bunnings. Oh, Leroy Merlin. You got to go to Leroy Merlin and pick up some balsa.
Oh, no, so the 550 is basically, it's planked, it's just ply and tape and glue, basically. So you can bash them
and
together
some
pretty
screws
quick.
that are too small because
Yeah.
that's how you roll.
Which is good. And then there was Andrew Taylor who put the view forward that just go through the whole process and, get the committees formed, come up with some ideas, do your research, and then just do the exact opposite of what's recommended, as we currently do. He's happy with that.
Exactly.
And I like what you've got there.
That's the current
the Homer Simpson approach.
That's
the current. Yeah, it's in the Constitution.
And then the last one I wanted to mention was the Brett Linton came through with the idea about saying the windsurfers should be given jousting sticks to add a bit of interest.
That would be funny.
Which is quite funny. But it makes a
go
really
one step further with that. You could have jousting sticks in freestyle. So we could be rail riding. We could be upside down sails with the head of the sail in the centre board. You know, all that sort of stuff. Yeah. Splits on the rail with a jousting stick.
Wow. But what?
AKA Joe Midden. Love you, Joe.
What that highlights, though, is that it sort of, in a very clever way, highlights that the consequences of trying to bastardise your sport. Like, where do you stop? Do you know what I mean? So, like, if you try and change and build the sport to be something that it's not, to meet some administrative
TV
view of what it needs to be.
KPI.
Do we feel that the Olympics is going somewhere where it's not?
Oh yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. So let's put that out there. I'm in agreement on that. I just think it's going somewhere that we are not.
The Olympics has been since the X Games came out years and years ago. It's been trying to go more of a youth approach because it sees that is the future of its audience. But I don't know. Does the X Games even go on anymore? Does that?
Don't know.
I don't know either.
The X Games goes on, but it's had a bit of a relaxed last year with COVID. But
anyway,
I agree with you. I think that it's out of touch. I think Olympic sailing in general is out of touch with what we are. But then that's what they're trying to do, right?
Well, no, I mean. It was good. It's just sort of evolving away, and it's definitely going to a more youth orientated thing, which is fine. But it's sort of moving away from what the sport is. I think a lot of people have said that. There was plenty of people that said just get out of the Olympics altogether. But there's a lot of passion, is the truth. I don't know what the answer is. Go and have a look at the post on Facebook at Barkarati on our Facebook page. There's a heap of responses, and certainly add more. And or if you want to send us an audio.
Send us an audio and we'll play it.
Yeah, cheers, Barkarati.
Bring back the rainbow.
Why don't we get a bunch of VB Expresses, mate?
Yeah.
Oh, yes.
Hey?
I love it.
The VB Express One design.
Love it.
Complete with split and rig.
All right. Question, gentlemen. We've seen a lot of discussion this week about the America's Cup. Anyone want to give us a rundown?
Yes, I wouldn't mind.
Go.
Oh, okay. My turn. Hey, I think you're going to put yourself in Team New Zealand's position. To run that team to run any team is expensive. And that's all it's about. There's been a lot of discussion of how much money actually governments put into sailing teams like this. And the inside word is that, although they talk about the location and the viaduct being done up and all that sort of stuff, that really isn't money going to the team. The team still has to find funding, so that's where I feel there's been a misconception as to how much governments are giving, or how much the New Zealand government are giving to Team New Zealand. And that's why they're in this position, because they need to raise money to run the team. And that's how I'm feeling about it. I don't know. I'm just having a stab at it.
So the $100 million that was supposedly from the New Zealand government, or is from
didn't
the New Zealand
didn't
government,
go to the team.
It didn't go to the team, but that has been declined, which means one thing.
Offshore.
It's going offshore. And now, we've known that for quite a while with confidence, but until that final offer.
The possibility that could be going offshore,
that it
and
was going
exploring the opportunities. But actually, one of the best bits I saw was, would Team New Zealand prefer to win it out of country or lose it in country?
Oh, yeah. Jeez, I don't know.
I think there's a bigger picture.
They've done both already.
I think there's a bigger
compete at the level they know they need to compete at. Possibly the only way they can do that is by going offshore.
Offshore, and I agree with that. And I think that they know how much it costs. They know that there are other teams that are now sort of ready to play the game to the next level. Mm-hmm. As a winner of the old mug, that's you're being chased. That's how it is. And they were. I mean, Italy were close. Let's not take that away from Italy. Mm. They were damn close. Yeah. And I think the next phase, even though we're staying with the same craft, there's still going to be a massive amount of development to go into these boats. And I think that's what they need to try and do. And I don't think they're going to get it from local sources.
So where's it going?
Sydney.
I was wondering about that one.
No, well, that's my tip. I'd love it to come.
So that's going to be Ernie's campaign.
Yep.
Running out of Sydney.
Yeah.
A few names being bandied around, plenty in the Middle East, but that would be definitely seen as taking the cash and running. But anywhere mainland Europe, I see Valencia's been put out there again. Mm. That would be almost much easier to swallow. I'd imagine.
So it'd be bloody good for Valencia, I must admit. Having lived there for 10 years and loving the place with passion, I mean, it's a great place for sailing. There's no question.
Well, our mates at Sail World, Richard Gladwell, have got a note here saying that the backers of the Valencia bid to stage the Cup believe they can access a $750 billion fund established by the European Union to assist member countries to recover from the economic effects of the COVID pandemic.
700 billion.
150 billion. I would have thought that 750 billion, I would have thought that they'd probably want to spend that money on infrastructure, but maybe a bit of mucking around, giving it to teams.
There's two ways of looking at it. What the Cup and the Grand Prix, when Valencia had the Spanish Grand Prix, or the European Grand Prix, I should call it, when they had those two events running alongside each other, that place just rocked. I mean, it rocked. Bicey, didn't it?
Here. I can confirm.
We won't go into details, but I can tell you that Valencia, when it was in full rocking mode, it was a fantastic place for those events.
Well,
love to have it back there.
Here's my theory about the America's Cup. The America's Cup is a gigantic property developer deal, right? So the whole reason you do the America's Cup is to win it, and then you find a place that's got plenty of land, you buy up all the land, and then you announce that this is where the America's Cup's going to be, and then everyone gets built.
Because 4,000 Antipodeans are going to rock up there and go nuts for 4 years.
That's it. So all I'm just saying is just watch out for who's buying land and where. Keep your eye on who's buying up little bits of land around the place, and then
there is some pretty special places around the world though that would accept this project. I'm pretty sure, but
yep,
we'll see.
We'll see. Anyway,
now I'll check in with the unofficial mayor of Port Lincoln, Steve Kemp.
Oh, well, there's a good idea.
See who's buying up in the region.
I tell you what, Port Lincoln would be a cracking place.
Port Lincoln would go all right, eh?
Lincoln would be cracking.
It would go all right. And if anybody had a bad race, you could just feed them to the sharks.
Yeah,
correct.
Just throw them off the side next to the tuna farms right there. You get off, son.
Yeah,
I'll have a chat. I'll have a chat to me in-laws and see if they know anything. Over in Valencia.
Yeah,
that'll be interesting. All right, let's move on from that. So we've still more to come, but I think our gut feel here is that there's a fairly strong chance the America's Cup is not going to be in New Zealand next time. Can we say that?
Yeah, there'll be some complications.
Yes.
No doubt. This will be an ongoing discussion.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
The Ocean Race. The Ocean Race Europe has finalised as of last night, today. As we're recording, leg 3. Whoa.
Bit of a snooze.
Well, I mean, come on. What month is it? What month is it?
It's so hard, wasn't it? It's
June, nearly July.
Yeah.
In the Med.
So,
I mean, come on. We've all lived there for many, many years.
Yeah.
no,
It's summer.
key comment here, in 2 years' time, almost to the day, the boats will be entering the Mediterranean for the final leg of the Round the World Yacht Race.
Yes.
And they could have those conditions.
Exactly. Crazy, isn't it? Like,
How would you feel about that?
and when was the French Olympics? What date are they? Are they this time of year as well? Were they supposed to be this time of year?
Yeah.
Because the double-handed offshore could have been a pretty tough
I've
race.
done lots of sailing on the minis at this time of year in the Mediterranean. And I can tell you, it's not easy.
You just sit there and sweat. Like that, poor buggers. I was so sympathetic
That word code 0 comes up a lot.
Wow.
Just leave it up and sail. Just keep the boat moving.
Another key point to take out of this is how tuned IMOCAs are for staying in front of a weather system and not going around corners.
Yeah.
So
or light air.
They're really in one corner of the envelope, aren't they?
Yeah,
and they
absolutely.
And when they're in the other corners of the envelope, they don't look that good.
No.
Yeah, but then there's the other side of it, if you don't mind me saying, that in the last IMOCA, they had to slow the things down to keep themselves under control. There is a really small window.
When they're in their window, mate, they're the best things in the. They're so awesome.
And I don't disagree with you, but that's a small window.
It is.
You know.
Did you see that footage from some fisherman or something in League Two?
Oh, with
linked out
with Tomo Ruins.
Yeah.
Got the boat launched, leaving Alicante.
And he was saying that I was just going along and I was on bow to bow with them and I was trying to keep up with them.
Yeah.
Good footage.
That was a good
that's
one.
True. I mean, there's no question that those things are, and we love them. We know that. There's no question. When it comes down to the VO65s, they still provide the racing. Do we want to have boats that are going to end up 3 days, 4 days, 10 days apart, or have this thing where it's coming into the finish where it's, as we have done in the last 2 years?
Well, I think we just want boats racing is the honest answer. Obviously, what do you reckon? So offshore team Germany win the IMOCA overall over 11th hour and then linked out. What do you think that the IMOCA people, the people that competed, will feel about this event?
As in being a non-foiler and a foiler?
Oh,
result?
just,
I think it's probably a bit of a dent in pride.
Yeah.
Given that the 65s were dominant, you'd say.
Yep.
And sailed to the conditions. What you don't hope is going to happen is these guys go back and didn't like it.
Yep.
You hope they're going to go back to their bases in France and get more people involved.
Yep.
Of which it's, again, race around Europe, as you mentioned, in summer, it's got to be hard. A race around the world is different, but in saying that, still 10 stopovers.
Yep. And the 65s?
The upwind stuff's going to be the hard part.
Yes.
We had this philosophy with we've got this philosophy with quite a few projects, and that you want a boat that actually performs in all conditions, and this is what we just mentioned a second ago, that the window is tight, and you're never going to have a window that's perfect for every boat, any boat at any one stage, be it handicap racing, be it one design racing, be it whatever. You're always going to be in a situation where the boat's not at its optimum.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem with the IMOCAs, is that they are a very small window boat. But we still love them.
They're great. I love them. Mira Perry, congratulations over sailing Poland. Yeah, everyone's boss, Bauer Becking.
Everyone's boss, Bauer.
And, he was actually Nico's boss back in the day too, so I bet Nico, he's still getting a few words from Bauer as well.
Bit of advice.
Axo in third on a countback, so both equal score, sailing Poland.
Yeah, well, Axo last inshore race jumped the start.
Oh, did they?
So they had to come back. They fought back to a fourth, but with the scoring system, didn't score any points. So equal points with these with our boss, Bowbecking.
With our boss Bowbecking, yes.
But nothing to be taken away from the 65s. They had a great race. Nothing to be taken away from the actual race itself. It was good. I wouldn't say it was compelling in the light airs, but to get away with actually hosting a race like this in multiple countries during this point in time is hats off.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I still think. I guess if you're on the boat, it's a nightmare. But you know, when you're watching it, it's still exciting. It's still interesting. You know, we know what they're going through, although it's taking a long time. You know, for us, it's we're only looking at a little boat on a picture screen, really, and every now and again a couple of videos. But I think it was still pretty cool.
Yeah.
Cool. Speaking of cool, BP, you were just you want to get on your high horse about the double-handed stuff? Is that the world's greatest promoter of double-handed sailing? What was on your mind?
In regards to, sorry, I'm just.
You wanted to talk about the double-hander, and it's not going away just because it's not Olympics anymore?
Absolutely. I mean, during the week or during last week, we obviously the Olympics obviously has been pulled out, as you know, and it's been a big topic for a long time. And as usual, I find myself in the middle of controversy.
I wasn't going to say anything.
But, you know, the key factor is that the market is booming. It is actually booming. It's going bananas. I think that the growth of the sport, the growth of the discipline is going to keep going. There is potential for various World Series events that we're looking at doing. There's a lot of people talking about a lot of good things, and there's a lot of people working hard to make things happen. So I guess from this standpoint, from this position forward, watch this space.
Oh, I thought you were about to say buy an X2.
www.x2.com.
Farx2.com. Farx2.com. Hey, listen, no, look, just look.
We agree, BP. We're just
double-handed, go yachting.
Yeah.
No, there's a good desire for it and for all the right reasons.
Yeah.
So, we want to see it thrive. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Cool, boys. I think we're pretty much done. I think we'll call it quits right about there. T-shirts are not far away.
Not far away.
We're
coming down to the last designs.
Yep.
So, should have them in about 3 or 4 months, I reckon.
And how much is this costing the project?
Stand by.
Yeah.
I told you should have got something to take care of your manly bits, and then we could afford some T-shirts.
Oh yeah, we should have taken sponsorship on. Yeah, we'll take the right sponsorship.
We'll see what happens over the coming weeks. There's some Secret Pro stuff coming out, and we might be able to save us.
That's it. All right, boys. I think we might call it there.
Yeah, lads, good on you.
Great talking to Matty Wearn, mate. Best of luck. We're right behind you the whole way.
Yep, absolutely. Sorry, Matty, I couldn't be with you, but good luck to you and good luck to you all. And get over there, and we hope you listen to us when we're over there. We'll give you a couple of funny stories to keep you giggling, keep the show on the roll, as they say.
Yes.
See you, everyone.
See you, boys.
Goodbye. Bye.
Nothing in front but a picture black and night. All my stars are out tonight. Take me where the wind might be.
It was a beautiful night coming home that night.